When he asked, well, can you send me a list? Were you hesitant to put your own name on it, or?
Well, one of my favorite things to do, just in general, is sort of connect
people together.
Yeah, bring people together. And I, at the time, was working with a few different girls who were singers who I thought were also just starting out and would be a good match for him. And to that point, I had been writing a little bit on my own, but I didn't know what to think of it, and there wasn't really a place for me to explore it because of sort of the nature of myself working in the industry. And so when
Why? Because you thought, well, I can just be record label owner and not...
Sort of. It didn't feel professional to sort of publicly explore that. It didn't feel safe to me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so when I received his email, and he was just sort of clean and open about his sort of level of experience and just his eagerness to experiment and write, I just felt really comfortable about the situation, and I don't think it could have been anyone else that I could have sent it to. I really don't, and I didn't know him very well, but I knew enough that I respected him and that I thought he would be honest with me, and I was really lucky that he did like the track. But I thought he'd give me his honest opinion no matter what.
What was the track?
It was a track called Wondering, and it was just a cappellas, and then the first half of the song I think I even played on some jars, and then I hadn't made enough music to write to, and so the second half is just a cappella. And
that's still one of my top played songs on my iTunes.
is it really?
What do you think of that song when you heard it?
I thought it was a really sweet sort of melody. It was definitely a bit. It was a lot sweeter than anything we've written since, I think.
Yeah.
Everything else is a little darker. But I thought her voice was really interesting and compelling, and I thought, I'm always interested in voices that are multi-layered and sort of have this other dimension to them, and have a little sort of naivete to them. I think it's really compelling. So it really appealed to me, and I thought that was something that we could develop together and work on.
What month or year are we talking about?
So this was all in sort of the summer of 2010.
And when did you actually, sit together and wrote a bunch of songs?
Well, Lizzy got all freaked out. And
Once I knew he liked it, I was too nervous to commit.
couldn't quite bring herself to just email me back.
No?
But eventually...
Why not? Why not?
Well, clearly I wanted a response that I sent him the music, but then when he replied and said that he enjoyed it and it was worth getting together, I think then I really got nervous because I was like, oh, shit, now I'm gonna have to sing in front of someone. I was like, I'm terrified. Like, I felt like I dug myself into a hole and now there's no coming back. And I was really nervous. I was so nervous. And so I put it off for a few months. And
what did you think?
I thought, okay, well, maybe this won't happen. Maybe she's not actually interested in it. And I was busy. I was at dance school. There was lots of things going on, so I was very, casual about the whole thing. And
we sort of kept making dates, and then we kept just sort of like
pushing them back. But we finally got together in December of 2010 and recorded a cover, Patrick Wolf's "Time of My Life," which was on the very first EP that we released. And yeah, there was this sort of crazy connection right off the bat. We recorded the track in like 2 hours, and everything just fell into place. We were really on the same page musically, and I think we recognized in each other sort of a kindred spirit right off the bat. There was a sense of, we were both hard workers and willing to approach it in the same way, and there was this sort of amazing immediate connection.
Can you describe how come a connection? Do you have similar background maybe in upbringing or music, or is it just?
Not really at all.
At all.
To be honest. And I don't know, Max and I often say that I think people spend their lives looking for, their musical partner or partner in life, whatever it be, and how rare for us that felt like we found that sort of right off the bat. And it was great that we came out of that session liking the song that we'd made together, but the much more important piece of it was that we were comfortable with one another. Yeah. And the fact that I even felt open enough to sing with just one other person in the room and that he was that one other person was monumental. for me, and completely opened the door, I think, for a very honest and free exchange. And that was what was so fun about it, because we knew that the cover had done well. We were like, well, maybe we should try our hand at some original material. You know, let's see how that goes.
What was the first song?
It's Bones. So Bones, I had a nugget of what would become Bones. I had the background vocals, the shaky U's, and dig up her bones, but leave the soul alone.
And I was like, that is such a great line. Let's put it at the beginning of every verse and every chorus, which makes it really hard to remember the lyrics. But yeah, I don't know. I think we were both so green and new, and I think we recognized that how open the other person was to just experimenting, and I think we were immediately on the same page there, and that sort of initial level of trust allowed us to be very fluid about the whole recording process, and be very open to bringing in different musical ideas and sort of combining them into our own, I don't know, style that we didn't even recognize it as a style or as a sound until we sort of just casually recorded 5 or 6 songs, and then I think we sort of went back in and we're like, wow, there's some consistencies here. There's something that feels uniquely us to this music, and let's keep exploring that and developing that and bringing in other things. And
but were you working towards an album back then, or was it just for you just record
No.
songs?
we didn't work towards an album for a long time.
For a long time, and that was nice too, because we just wanted to write and see how it goes. And so we were writing around school and work and just sort of finding the pockets of time when we could connect. And it was great, because when we got together, it meant we sort of used our time very efficiently, and I think we were writing independently, so that every time we were together, we had a lot of material to sort of exchange. And we sort of wrote on a track-by-track basis for many, many months. And it wasn't until later, when we realized that we had quite a large selection of songs, that maybe there was more to this than we thought, and maybe we should consider identifying ourselves as a band and starting to build maybe a visual side to it, and assigning a name and releasing something. And that was Go City USA.